Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to dive into Minestom. So this is going to be a new series that I'm starting. It could be a small series, it could be larger depending on how many people like it and how interested people are. But yeah, we're going to explore something called Minestom, which was requested by some of you guys. I'll have a link for this website in the description below so you can check it out yourself. It's got a lot of important information. But yeah, it's a lightweight open source Minecraft server built from the ground up. So what that means is that it's not Bucket, it's not Spigot, it's not Paper, it's not Fabric or anything like that. It's literally just a Minecraft server that has nothing. Everything has been ripped out and it's very bare bones, and you have a blank slate to create all the custom functionality that you want. This is great for custom servers that have a lot of custom functionality, or even minigame servers that have a specific purpose. Let's just go through some of the points here. So it's lightweight because, like I said, it ripped out all of the existing vanilla features of Minecraft, and you have to implement that yourself or not at all. So it's very fast. Whenever you start up a Minestom server, it's like literally within seconds. It's absolutely insane. So it comes with minimal functionality, which allows for a more efficient and lightweight server that can be easily extended. There's a community of developers that's growing. That's awesome. It's written in modern Java, which is even more awesome. It's got high performance for efficiency. It's multi-threaded, which is huge because traditional Minecraft servers, like it says, like Bucket and Spigot, are not multi-threaded. You can do multitasking and threading, sort of, but it's just not really meant for those types of servers, and this has built-in out-of-the-box support for that, which is amazing. And then the final point, it says no legacy NMS. So with Minestom, net.minecraft.server is a thing of the past. The protocol is fully implemented and does not obfuscate any code, creating a faster and more enjoyable experience. Because everything is so bare bones, you have a lot of freedom to do a lot of cool stuff that is not possible with other server implementations. And then of course there's the performance aspect that we talked about before. But like everything, there's pros and cons, right? So the pros of this would be that it's very customizable. It's very efficient. It can be fast to start up. You can directly debug it and run it within your IDE, which is awesome. But the cons of this is that it's hard to get started because everything is, again, bare bones. I'm going to repeat that so many times, but it's bare bones. So it has nothing, almost nothing for you to start with. You have to create the server yourself. You have to create the world yourself. You have to even add the lighting system yourself with code. It's easy, but you still have to do it. There's no events that are already implemented, so picking up items, dropping items, breaking blocks. You can break a block, but nothing drops from that. Like almost everything is just unimplemented, so you have to do that yourself. So that could definitely be a con if you just want a normal, vanilla server that you can extend. And yeah, that's kind of just the main con. The downside that comes to mind for me is that it's just so hard to get started, kind of. Especially if you're new to this, and also you just have to add a bunch of stuff that's not there that you might expect to be there or want to be there. And then, the community is definitely smaller because it's not been around as long as, Bucket, for example. But just looking at the pros and cons and looking at the pros, there's a lot of pros here. There's a lot of benefits to using Minestom, and it's really cool, man. It's just really cool. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to create your very first Minestom server from the ground up. I figured out a lot of this on stream with you guys, to help me out, and thank you so much for doing that. A lot of this is relying also on the wiki, so just make sure you check this out as well. It has a lot of really helpful information on their wiki to set up your first server, the dependencies, all the different aspects of a server. Really, really cool stuff. So make sure to check that out. Link in the description below. It's got Java docs as well. It's got the third-party libraries for stuff, if you want to add like fluid systems, slime world format loader, a bunch of cool stuff. So make sure to check that out. But yeah, hopefully you guys are excited to dive into this like I am. The only prerequisites that you need to be able to watch this series is hopefully Java. You need to know Java, at least the fundamentals of Java, how to create variables and control flow and classes, object-oriented programming, basic data structures like lists and maps and stuff like that. And then you should be good to go from there. You don't have to know anything about Bucket or Spigot, although I expect a lot of you guys will know what that is already. But yeah, that's all I got. Let's get started. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is show you guys how to create a new project for a Minestom server. We're going to be using Java, of course, so the most popular IDE for that is IntelliJ IDEA. Hopefully you know what that is, but if you don't know what it is, go ahead and install it. And then once you create a new project, it should take you to this screen here to choose what type of project. We just want to choose a regular Java project, and now we want to set the name. So the name could be anything. I'm going to call mine My First Server, and then now you need to choose a location for that project where it's going to live. So choose a safe location on your computer where it's always going to be, and then what it will do is create a subfolder within that folder for that project to live inside of. You can have it create a Git repository if you want to. That's not really necessary unless you plan on storing it in GitHub. You can always add that later if you want to. For the build system, make sure you set it to Gradle. That's what I recommend for this. You can use Maven if you want to, but Gradle is my recommendation because that's what the documentation uses. At the time of recording, the documentation also recommends having at least Java 21, so make sure you have Java 21 selected. If you don't have it, you can download it yourself, on Oracle. Just, search up Java JDK 21 or just whatever the latest is, or you can download it through IntelliJ. They make it really easy nowadays, so you could do either option. Just make sure you have at least 21, like I said. Now for the Gradle DSL, it doesn't matter which one you choose. You can do Kotlin or Groovy. I'm going to leave it on Kotlin. And I'm going to leave add sample code checked because it's always helpful to have sample code, all right? And that's pretty much it. So once you have all that selected and set up, go ahead and click create. And now it's going to generate all the sample code for your project and all the dependencies and all that fun stuff. So give it a second to do all that. Okay, it's already done for me, so let's go and check it out. So what we've got here, the most important part is our main.java class here. So we can go to main, open the Java subfolder, and then me.codysimpson's the package, and then main. So just like any Java program, this is going to be the entry point of your server. So the main method here, we can go ahead and run it if we want to. So just do this, click run main, and now we'll run our Minecraft server. And we don't have anything set up for Minestom, so it'll just print out hello world. So just a very basic Java program. Pretty much all these other files you can ignore for the most part. The other important one is the build.gradle.kts file. This is where you'll set up your repositories for your project for Gradle and also your dependencies. So that's the next thing that we're going to do. We're going to head to the Minestom documentation and then go to dependencies. And this is where it tells you what to put for that Gradle file, okay? So first of all, make sure you choose either Groovy or Kotlin, depending on which one you chose when setting up the project. I chose Kotlin, so I'm going to select those. And now just make sure for repositories you have Maven Central. We already have that. If we take a look here, we have Maven Central already, so that's all good to go. And then for dependencies, we want to copy this part here. This is the actual Minestom dependency, and then we could just add it right after these two, okay? We don't actually plan on doing any testing, any unit testing at all. You could pretty much just ignore these or remove them. I'm just going to leave it because I added it there. I don't really see a problem with that, just for this very basic project that we're doing here. So once you have changed your Gradle file in any capacity, make sure you click the button here at the top right. This will just reload everything and re-import any new dependencies or anything like that, okay? And that's it. So that's how you can create the project and go ahead and install the dependencies for the project. Now let's take a look at how we can actually create a server and run it. So if you come from my other series on bucket and spigot development, this is going to be way different. It's going to have similarities, of course, because there's things in Minecraft that are similar across, any framework, but this is very different. So usually with bucket and spigot, right, we're making a plugin that is going to run on a bucket server or a spigot server, right? And we don't really have to worry about the server aspect of things. That's already handled for us. With Minestom, though, everything is bare bones. You have to not only code any quote-unquote plugin functionality, but you have to also code the server from the ground up. So we have to actually instantiate the server, create the server, configure the world that's loaded for the server, literally every aspect of it. So we're not just creating some regular, bucket plugin, for example. We're actually creating the server itself and then extending functionality onto it to make it a little more advanced, okay? So like I said before, this does not even have a lot of the vanilla functionality that you would expect with just any Minecraft server, like Bucket or even just a vanilla Minecraft server. It doesn't have almost any of that. All you have is the world that you generate, and you have to specify that yourself, and everything else is up to you from there, okay? So with that said, that's a little bit of like a warning, I guess, but I just don't want you to have a misunderstanding on what is about to happen here. So let's get started. So the first thing that we want to do is initialize the server. So we're literally going to create the Minecraft server. Minecraft server is equal to Minecraft server.init. So that's all we have to do to create the Minecraft server. And now we want to create the instance. And an instance in Minestom is the world, okay? If you ever see the word instance, just think of world, all right? Just a regular Minecraft world, pretty much. We'll come back to that in a second, but after we create the instance, we want to also start the server. So we're going to do server.start, and now we can specify the address, the IP address, and the port that the server is going to live on. So we're going to do 000, which is going to be localhost, so just your computer's IP pretty much, and then 25565, which is the default port for Minecraft. So if you want to connect to the server, you just type localhost for the direct IP address, and you should be able to connect, all right? So this code right here will literally just create a Minecraft server with nothing at all in it, okay? So it's going to be an empty shell of a Minecraft server, not even a world. So usually when you create a vanilla Minecraft server using the normal, way of doing things, it creates the world automatically for you, just a default world called world. But for Minestom, there is no world. There's literally nothing, like I said. So that's why we have to create the instance, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. So to create the instance, we're going to need an instance manager. So instance manager is equal to Minecraft server dot get instance manager. So on Minecraft server, you can see that there's a lot of different things that we can access, which will be useful for the future, like get server, get team manager, is started, is stopping, pretty much anything about the server itself. But you got block managers, you have all these different types of managers for doing different things. The schedule manager is going to be important, the command manager. So yeah, that's an important class that you can work with. But now that we have the instance manager, we can go ahead and get an instance or create an instance by doing instance container. Instance container is equal to instance manager.create instance container. So what this essentially will do is create the Minecraft world for you, because like I said before, the instance is the world. And just by default, if you don't provide anything to it, if you want to, you could provide some other information like the dimension type, a chunk loader. If you don't provide anything to it, you'll just get a regular void world with literally nothing inside of it, okay? So that's the next step. We want to basically generate the world. Basically, we want to tell it how to generate the world, in other words. So we're going to do instance container dot set generator. And so inside of here, you can set the generator that will be used when generating the world. So unit, let's open that up. And so now we're going to do unit dot modifier dot fill height. We're going to do 0 to 40. And then we're going to do block dot grass block. So this is taken directly from their documentation. Just to generate a regular grass flat world so that we can start playing with. Generation can get a little advanced and tricky, so I'm going to make a separate video on generation so we can dive a little more deeply into it, okay? This is the basic code for generating just a flat world, okay? Because Minestom is so bare bones, there is no vanilla Minecraft world. You can't really generate a survival world, as far as I'm aware at least. There is no like built-in way to do that. I could be wrong about that. Something else that you could do though is have one that's already generated, maybe locally or something like that, on your computer, on your single player world, and you could load that into this server if you want to. But yeah, so now that we have the server created, and we're going to go ahead and create an instance so that we have a world to actually work with. We're telling it how to generate that world. We just want a regular grass flat world, and then we're starting the server. You can run this program now and start the server if you want to, but we don't have a way to join it because we need to essentially hook into the async player configuration event using a listener and tell it where to spawn players who join the server. So not even player spawning is implemented in Minestom. So that's something that we have to do. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to add an event handler to handle player spawning. All right. So the way that we're going to do that is by doing global event handler. Global event handler is equal to Minecraft server dot get global event handler. And then now we want to do global event handler dot add listener. And now first we want to specify the event that we're trying to listen to. So we're going to do async player configuration event dot class. There we go. And then now you do a lambda. So you could just do control space to autocomplete that if you want to make it easier for you. Let's just go ahead and rename this to event. And I'll dive deeper into event handling in a future video, of course. But what's going to happen inside of this little block here is that whenever this event occurs, we're going to listen to that. So any code inside of this block will be triggered essentially. So we're going to go ahead and do final player. This is code taken from the wiki, but it's very helpful. Event.getPlayer, import player from Minestom. And then now we can do event.set spawning instance. And that's going to take in an instance as the parameter, which again is just the world. So we want to do instance container, the world that we created. So that's going to be the default world that players spawn into. And now we could do player.set respawn point. And now we want to provide a position. So a POS is just a position, XYZ. So we can do 0, 42, and 0, which will just put them on top of the flat world that we've generated. And that's it. So I know that's a lot. This is probably a little overwhelming if you've never done anything like this before, but the more you work with stuff like this, the more you'll get used to it. And of course, you have all the code in the description below. I'll have a link for it so you can check it out. All right, so that's all we need to actually get started. So we're creating the server. We're creating the instance using the instance manager, which is going to represent our world. We're telling it how to generate the world, just a basic flat world that's 40 blocks high using grass blocks. We're using the global event handler to listen to the async player configuration event, which is going to be called when the player joins the server. And what it's going to do is set the spawning instance for the event, meaning that it's going to spawn them in that world, in that instance, and then it's going to get the player and then set the respawn point to a specific coordinate in that instance, okay? And then finally, we're actually starting the server using server.start. This represents localhost or our local IP, and then we're using port 25565, which is the default Minecraft port. So now we can actually do the fun part, which is testing it out. And this part is so easy compared to if you're using Spigot, because all you have to do is just run it. Run the main method here. So It literally takes 2 seconds, and that's it. Literally, it started up. That's the entire thing started up because it's so bare bones that it doesn't have all that fluff that other libraries do, and it's so fast to start up. So now we have a Minecraft server that we can join. So let's boot up Minecraft. And then now when you do direct connection or add server, the server address will just be localhost because it's running on your computer. You don't need to specify the port because we're using the default port, which is 25565, and then just click join server. And look at that. We are now in our flat world, but you'll notice one thing right away, there's no light. So even though we have the sun and the clouds, there's no light. So that is interesting. You can you can break blocks if you want to, but you'll notice that none of the blocks actually drop anything. That's because not only is the lighting not implemented, but block breaking is not really implemented, so you have to actually handle that logic yourself. Literally every aspect of this is not implemented, okay? So this gives us the benefit of customization. We can do everything from scratch and customize it how we want to, but also it leaves us a lot to actually do because we have to implement a lot of basic stuff that we might just expect to work with other implementations for servers. But as a start, this is pretty cool, right? Now we're able to join our server and, run around and do stuff. Not really do much, but it's cool that we have something at least, right? And it's all running just using our IDE. It's literally just running through our IDE. In a future video, I'll show you guys how you can package this into a jar file that you can distribute just like a regular server. And that way you'll be able to run it whenever you want. You don't have to use, an IDE to run it. You just have a basic Java executable file pretty much. Another cool thing about being able to run it in your IDE though is that now we have the benefit of debugging. So we can run it in debug mode if you know anything about that from Java development. And that basically means is that whenever we're trying to solve bugs or just figure out how our code is running, we can run it in debug mode and run the code line by line and just watch how it goes through during runtime. So that's really powerful because you can't do that with like Spigot, for example. But hopefully you're finding this interesting so far. So let's go ahead and add lighting. So you can add lighting by doing instance container, which is our instance, and then you could do set chunk supplier. And to this, you can provide the lighting chunk and then do : new, which will just, create a new instance of that and pass it in. So this will be the default lighting system for Minecraft. So whenever chunks are sent from the server to a Minecraft client, which is my game that I'm running on my computer, it will automatically add the lighting. That's why there's no lighting currently. But of course, in the Minestom spirit, this is all customizable. So you can provide your own lighting system if you want to. But this is how you can add the default lighting system. So now if we go in and restart this by clicking this button here, it's going to take literally 2 seconds to restart. It's literally already done. So now we can go ahead and rejoin and boom, now we have light. So that's beautiful. So now it should function how you would normally expect with a Minecraft server or world. That's great to have. Another thing you'll notice is that we don't have our skin. So this is just a default skin that was generated for us. And that's because we're not using the Mojang authentication right now. You can think of your server being in offline mode if you know what that is. So essentially all we have to do, it's just a one line piece of code, thankfully. We just go down here, wherever you want to put it, and you just do Mojang auth.init. So what this will do is enable online mode, add skins, and etc. All right, we're back in the server now, and immediately you can see that I now have my Santa skin, so it's working perfectly. Something you might notice is that whenever you run the server, it says no SLF4J providers were found. This is what you can use for logging. So we just need to add the logger basically as a dependency to our Gradle file. I'll have a link to this in the description below, but this is the dependency that we need. Just come here, make sure you find the latest version of it though. Go to, at the time of recording is 2.0.16, so I'll click that, and then I'll click Gradle Kotlin because that's the one I selected for my build system. And I don't know why it says test implementation and not implementation, but anyways, just copy this, Control-C, copy, and then come here and go ahead and paste that in your dependencies, and then change it from test implementation to implementation. And once you have done that, go ahead and click the little icon right there to bring in that dependency to your project. So now it has been added, so we can go ahead and restart our Minecraft server now, and it should work. We should have logging now. There we go. So it says hello world, and then it also says these logging messages here. So starting Minecraft server or Minestom server started successfully. So there we go. That's how you can add simple logging using the SL4J simple logger, okay? And that's pretty much all I want to show you for this episode, guys. This is how you can create your very first Minestom Minecraft server. Now that we have a server created, we saw how to create a server, create an instance, how to generate the instance, add lighting, add an event handler so a player can join the server and spawn, enable skins and all that stuff, and then also specify how to start the server. Now that we have all of that set up, we now have laid the groundwork for being able to add more functionality like breaking blocks and dropping items and literally everything that you would expect for a server. Anything that we want to add really, because there is nothing. It's a blank slate and we can add whatever we want to this Minecraft server now, okay? Now that you've seen this, you can probably see that if you've done any bucket or spigot development, this is way different now. So this is not just a plugin, it's literally the entire server from the ground up, okay? And you get a lot more, custom functionality. You can do whatever you want. So with that said, I also want to thank everyone who joined the stream from a couple days ago. In the stream, I was checking out Minestom for the first time, and I just want to thank you guys for helping me out, because it's definitely very tricky as a learning curve, because everything is just not set up for you. You got to do it all yourself. And thank you to all the guys who were there to help me out, because they had experience, and I just appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Peace. So that's it for this video, everybody. I really hope you learned something new. If you liked the video, please hit the like button, and if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Make sure to also check the description below for important links to code and other resources, but also really important, join our Discord. We have a big community of over 5,000 programmers, and it's a place where you can find new friends or get help on any code that you're stuck on. If you want to support what I do on this channel, please consider hitting the join button below, and this will allow you to support my channel for as low as $1 a month, but there are different tiers to choose from if you want to. For anyone that becomes a member on my channel, you get a special rank on my Discord server, early access to new videos, and you can just see yourself on the screen right now. So if that sounds cool to you, feel free to join. If you don't want to, that's fine. If you can't, that's okay too. I really just appreciate you watching the video anyway. Thank you so much. And that's it. Peace.